Okay, here we go.
It looks like Hong Kong.
Yep. Oh God.
Oh.
Nope, not liking it. Nope. Okay, I'm not on board with this. I don't like seeing gorillas like this at all. That's why I hate King Kong in general.
Yeah.
But that is the story of King Kong.
That's why I hate that story. Oh well, Alexander Skarsgård kind of takes a little sting.
This child. That's cool. You know, the little kid that can relate to Godzilla. That's an old one.
Godzilla or Kong?
Kong and Godzilla and Gamera.
Yeah, that's true. The only little kids can communicate with giant monsters. Kong's not a monster though. He's just a big gorilla. I don't think it's fair to lump him in with monsters.
Look how big he is in this. He's like huge.
Rebecca Hall is always good.
Well, so far we've just seen a lot of abusive animals. Loving it.
And that's Godzilla's back.
Yeah. Kind of looks like the city operas.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I'm very nervous for this whole thing. I know nothing's a trailer. Nothing.
It's Godzilla.
But I don't like it. Oh, Godzilla.
That's
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that big one. They're showing a lot. Like, they're showing all of it.
Well, I think
Godzilla fights like a human. Godzilla, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Shin Godzilla thing.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, very much like she's
That's great looking. Oh, look, Kyle Chandler being underused again, I'm sure.
He's back.
He's sort of back.
Millie Bobby Brown.
Oh, yeah, that is her.
Yeah.
Kong is so cute.
What's that with the hand?
Yeah, his hand in
Somebody
The
else.
last one standing.
Making me there, I don't like it. Well, they're very nervous.
I love that it's Hong Kong because Hong Kong is such a bright. That's what Hong Kong really looks like.
It's very cool looking.
I've been right there.
Well, it is Godzilla versus Kong, so it's going to be
That's why I'm not going to watch it.
lots of battles.
I literally cannot watch King Kong. It's so sad because I've been to Africa. I've seen the gorillas. I've been with the gorillas, and they're such gentle, amazing creatures. Even when they're not being gentle or if they're feeling threatened, it's not even close to Kong. And I feel like ever since King Kong, movies had made gorillas like they're monsters, or they want to kill you, or they're going to tear you up. So I hate that they're perpetuating this continuing gorilla thing in this day and age. It just seems wrong. We don't need Kong. Give me Godzilla and a made-up monster, but I don't want to see gorillas getting hurt, even if they're giant.
The thing is that the story nowadays, I mean, the original King Kong, I still love it for the special effects and the spectacle of it. But when I watch it as an adult, I realize how awful that movie is. The original King Kong. They're just killing the dinosaurs and shooting them.
Right.
They have that big game hunter idea.
Yes.
And like it's some kind of proud, heroic thing to go out and kill animals.
Yeah. Let's capture Kong and bring him back. It's like, why? Why are you doing that?
And chains, you know.
Yeah, and then he's an enemy when he escapes and wants to go back to where he came from, and he's hurting people just trying to run away. He's the enemy. It's like,
and then at the end of the original King Kong, Carl Denham blames, Ann Darrow.
The woman.
He's like, it was Beauty that killed the beast. It's like, no, it was
it was you. You did it. You did it from the very beginning. You did it.
And in later movies, even in the Jessica Lange King Kong, the idea was more environmental, is more of a thoughtful thing. Like you shouldn't take him out of his environment, you should leave him. And then in Kong on Skull Island, the one that this is a sequel to, and the Godzilla movie that this is a sequel to, it really does kind of go. I mean, it's still, these things you don't want to see them get hurt, and they're getting hurt and they're getting attacked by the humans, but the humans are portrayed as the invaders.
But they still let it happen.
I know, but
the movie still lets it happen. Like I just want to see instead of Kong and Godzilla being the enemies, how about we see them take out all the humans? I'd rather see them team up and kill humans and just wipe out humans, because this is just, and it doesn't excuse it. Even when you have an environmentalist there and you have the little girl there who's, bringing sympathy to Kong and all that.
Right.
Eventually, we know this is Kong versus Godzilla. Who's going to win? Something's going to die. We know it's not going to be Godzilla. What's going to happen to Kong? I just have a very bad feeling about this whole movie. There's no way I can see it. There's no way.
I don't
Even though
think
it's fake, I can't see it.
Kong won't die.
How can he not die? He's just a big gorilla.
Neither
and
one of them.
Godzilla's got a fucking laser.
I don't think. I think my guess will be that they battle each other, but then something happens. There's a third. It looks like there's a third monster at the end. There isn't some sort of serpent or something.
I know he's swinging some stuff around. Another animal gets killed.
Yeah. maybe there's something else that happens, and they actually team up.
Here's what I'd like to see: Kong rides Godzilla back to his island. Godzilla helps and takes him back, and everyone lives happily ever after. The end. That's a Kathy Godzilla.
That might happen.
It could, because in the original Godzilla movies, Godzilla turned into a good guy. He started off as being a bad, destructive monster, and still sometimes is in some of the stories, like Shin Godzilla or whatever. But in the Godzilla movies, he became the original, Ishiro Honda movies. He is a good guy. He's
I love that.
Fighting against the bad monsters that come, and
right.
And why do they come? Because humans do some dumb shit every time.
Or aliens.
And so Godzilla has to go,
Earth.
Let me check. Yeah, they come in, or they resurrect some creepy thing because they do some experiment. So Godzilla has to come clean up the mess.
Or the aliens send Ghidra or Mecha Ghidra or Mecha Godzilla or Mecha Kong.
Exactly.
And it's so the movies are just the original movies work better. I think this one, modern films put so much personality into these creatures that almost you feel sorry for Kong because you can see his facial expressions.
Yes.
But in those old Godzilla movies from the 60s, the really Japanese ones, the Ishiro Honda ones, you're like, it's a mask. It's a static head that just moves around. And there's really not a whole lot of emotive character
that won't fly
in the face.
Yeah.
And so you're really kind of aware, whether you realize it or not, you're watching two guys in costumes fighting, and it's kind of more fun because of that. It's almost like kabuki theater.
Yeah.
And in some way,
or puppets or something.
Yeah.
I agree. I look at these like the Godzilla movie that came out a couple of years ago that, this is a kind of a semi sequel to. They're impressive, but they
have no soul.
There's something about them that they just don't hit the mark for me. And I don't know what it is. What I like about Godzilla, these movies they're modern, like monster movies. They don't hit the sweet spot for me why I like watching a Godzilla. They're not a Godzilla film for me. They're not the original Godzilla. They're not the Japanese Toho Godzillas. There's something else. They're impressive to look at, but they do nothing for me as far as, they don't give me excitement or thrills. So they're just like incredible special effects. And that just goes so far for me because the human characters are nothing in these movies.
Yeah. Well, I also feel like we've evolved from the original idea of these movies, of these big, scary humans fighting this big, scary thing. And now we've realized that the big, scary thing is us. So now when you bring in these big scary monsters, they're usually creatures that could just be left alone, but we go into like the Mariana Trench, or we go into like wherever it is we're digging, disturbing animals in their natural habitat. And then we decide we have to fight them. And it's like, that's not, that kind of thinking is evolved to the point of like, just leave them alone. They deserve their own space. Like now we're realizing that predators in the wild, king of the jungle, all these trophy hunters would go kill gorillas back in the day because they were so big and scary, but they were these gentle vegetarians that were doing nothing. They didn't kill animals. They didn't kill people. It's like, so that kind of thinking doesn't exist anymore. Like that you need to kill these animals. Like, and so when I see this, I'm like, they're using this antiquated model to bring thrills, and all I see is sadness and Alexander Skarsgård.
And there's some people who understand, who not understand, but I mean, there's some people who think that it's not a sociopathic behavior to kill for pleasure.
Right.
And when, there is people kill for food, that's an ancient thing. Animals kill for food, but to kill for the sheer pleasure of ending the life of a large animal, like you see those two Trump idiots with their dead animals that they killed. It's like that's a sociopathic behavior because
Right.
they're smiling. They're like, yeah, we killed this thing and we got pleasure from it.
We
And
got a
that's-
picture with a dead animal. Yay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like this is
elephant
something to be
truck.
proud of or
Don't
something.
get that. Don't
Yeah.
get it.
But the Godzilla movies and everything kind of approach that in the recent films, where you see these kind of people that are like, yeah, and they're going to go kill. But then, fortunately, I guess in these movies, those people lose. You know, they won
Yeah.
in the 30s, in the 1930s, because people still thought big game hunters were heroes and cool. But now that attitude, I think, fortunately, has changed, and a lot of times the attitude in the new movies turns out to be, even though the animals, the monsters go through a lot of torture and punishment through the film, but ultimately the message of the film is sort of good now, you know.
Right. Well, I mean, doesn't King Kong always die in his movies?
No, he didn't die in Skull Island.
No, yeah,
I
he's
couldn't
more
watch
of a
Skull Island.
superhuman skull. And here's my thing: like Kathy, I get why you see sadness, and I get why,
I do too.
you know, and I also get Burke's point about trying to
Trophy
bring.
hunters.
Yeah, but I think mostly I feel that these movies are pointless. I don't get the no, they're pointless. They're like, it's like, why? Like the Godzilla movies are great, great back in the day, and they're fun. It's just like this is a money grab. Hey, we can be these incredible special effects, and we can bring these things to life. We
These
can have
big
them
brand names that we
stopping
can
through
combine.
Hong Kong or wherever they're going, and it's just so. To me, it looks cool. I'll watch it because I think it's cool to watch the effects, but they're all kind of like they're kind of pointless. Like Shin Godzilla was good because it was an interesting story.
Yeah,
It was
Yeah.
a smaller story.
Yeah.
it's a reboot, new take.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is like, oh, there's the same characters doing the same thing. Nobody's going to really die. And I mean, some bad guys.
Military's going to try and kill the monsters that aren't
it's
really
like,
monsters.
geez, yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I'll tell you right
Little
away.
girl's
who's
going to
gonna-
save everybody.
I just feel like
Yeah,
it's a
true.
pointless money grab, and it's like I have no interest in seeing that.
Oh, Cinemondo is brutal today. Bring
But
it.
you know what
So,
I love, and I watch these movies over and over in my life, and I just love the feeling of them, is those old Toho Godzilla films you're talking about. Like Godzilla versus Mothra is such a, Mothra is a great film. Rodan is a great movie. Frankenstein Conquers the World, which is also called Frankenstein versus Baragon, and War of the Gargantuas, these incredible movies that were made by Toho back in the 60s and even back to the 50s. They made a couple, but those movies had a weirdness to them that I loved when I was a kid, and I still do. I still love watching the Mothra films. Like, what a weird idea, a giant monster that's a big moth. And his friends are these two tiny women who sing the Mothra song, and they go around in a little box, the Peanuts, the princesses, and Infant Island, where Mothra is born from an egg, that stuff to me is myth. It's like mythology, and it goes back to what I was saying before, like the kabuki theater, where you see when you go to Japan, they still have kabuki theater, and the people, and in Thailand, I've seen the performances which remind me of these kaiju films, where they're wearing masks and they're these monsters, these mythical creatures, and they battle each other. And they're almost like comic book stories in a way, or Godzilla stories. And you can kind of tell how those films came from the actual mythology.
These are Americanized big budget versions of that. And
We have King Kong like doing a right hook.
Right.
Yeah, it loses
like,
whatever
what?
that magic is from those
Yeah.
movies.
The mythology
Aren't-
part is kind of gone from it.
It's
Now
turned
just
into like
action.
modern day. Yeah, it's like, it's always the same shot of the helicopters and the battleships going out. Like I've seen that a million times in these
Yeah.
things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it impresses somebody. The movies get made and
They
they
make
must
them.
make
Who
money.
directed this? Does anybody know? Am I asking that question none of us knows the answer to?
It's like, stop the podcast.
I'll
God
check.
damn it, Kathy. We're supposed to know the director.
I'll check. Oh, David
don't know.
Lynch.
Oh,
We love it.
I would
I
watch
thought I
that.
recognized his style.
I would watch a David Lynch Godzilla movie. That would be
Yeah.
the best thing ever.
Exactly, because that would be some interesting
It
style.
would be so weird.
He'd bring
Um,
something.
I'll if you give me a second,
He
I'll
would bring something.
somebody somebody by the name of Adam Wingard, who actually I know who that is. Adam Wingard. He's actually a horror director who did a lot of low budget horror stuff. that we've
Interesting.
seen before.
Like, it does look familiar. I'm looking at his face right now.
You're Next. Did you ever see that one? Gosh,
Yes, Your Next is great.
that's him.
VHS,
VHS, The
Blair
Guest,
Witch,
the Blair Witch from 2016, Death
Yeah.
Note,
The Guest.
The Guest, VHS 2. So the
Okay.
ABCs of Death, that kind of stuff.
Death Note is based on a
Yes.
I liked Death
Japanese anime.
It was
Yeah.
fun.
So anyway,
Series.
this is obviously
Okay.
a huge budget film.
Well,
so-
I hope he succeeds, but there's no way I'm seeing it.
I'll watch it. I'll see it because I love big spectacles like this, and
Yeah. King
and
Kong's a hard no for me. Nope, not gonna do it. Boop.
well,
I
maybe
like
we can
Hong
get an
Kong.
edited-
Hong Kong
Can't
is a
do
fun
it.
city.
That would be great. I wish it was just Godzilla and not.
We'll edit the Kong parts out for
If you can make this movie 5 minutes long and not show Kong, that would be really funny. It'd be like
Kong in
Godzilla
chains.
comes out of the ocean, moving over.
Well, maybe Burke and I will do a podcast, a shortcut on this.
Yeah,
one.
you can do a shortcut on this because it's just too sad to me. I can't
Okay.
watch the gorillas
I
getting
get it,
tortured.
though. I get it.
Even if it's a fake CGI. Everybody goes, it's not real. It's like, I know it's not real, but gorillas do get abused and killed, so it's still there.
They get vilified, you know.
They do for no reason.
You talk about that with wolves when you see wolves in movies. You're
That's
like,
right.
you know, they're always the villain. They're always the bad guy.
Like I was in Rwanda and we were filming this gorilla family, and all of a sudden we're all knocked over, and I was like, what the hell happened? Like it was really weird, and so I was holding up my camera and I realized that the male silverback that we had not really noticed got really agitated with us being there. So he charged us, which I didn't even get it on camera, pushes a one woman on the end, literally like dink, and we all just fell over like dominoes.
Wow.
And then I have this shot of this big gorilla face, like right in my face, walking by. And it's like, that was it. That was the big gorilla attack. He just went, boop,
Yeah.
done. And he walked away
said,
going,
he said enough.
yeah, I did it. It was so
He's like-
amazing.
He was like, be careful around here.
Yeah, he's like, I'm the boss. And if you do that, I got to push you down again.
Yeah. That's
It was amazing.
That's pretty amazing.
So when you look them in the eye, like for real, and you're standing there and you see them, anything like this, even close to this, is just like a knife in my heart. I can't
Yeah.
see a Godzilla hurting a gorilla. Well, mostly I can't see the people hurting the gorilla by chaining him up and, doing all that.
Yeah.
It's like, no. So
That's
yeah.
kind of why I have a
Hard
love-hate relationship with zoos. You know, I know that zoos
Yes.
can sometimes trigger a love for animals or an interest in animals and children.
And they may be the last, remaining,
they're trying to save them.
specimens.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Sometimes, but yeah,
I hate seeing
they shouldn't be there.
animals in cages.
I
I
know.
just don't like seeing that. I don't like seeing one thing that's bothered me ever since I was a little kid is birds in cages.
Yeah, I know.
I
They should
mean, I
be
know people have
flying.
birds as pets and everything, but every time I saw a bird and the cages are always these little cages, and there's a
Mhm.
bird sitting in there, and it's like that just
Yep.
there's a heartbreaking image
It's
to me
just
as
really
a child.
sad.
I think these movies sometimes address that, because
Yeah.
you can tell in this trailer that the shots of Kong in chains, he's got the chains. Those are meant to be heartbreaking.
Yeah.
They're meant to be
Yeah.
disturbing. You don't want to
That's
see
true.
poor King Kong in chains.
Don't want to see
You
him.
want to see him break those chains.
I would think most people are rooting for Kong.
Yeah.
I mean, you want the gorilla to win in a battle with
Yeah,
Godzilla.
absolutely.
Kong should win, of course, because he's everyone's so familiar and he's cute.
And even in the 1930s King Kong, the original King Kong film, they depict him. I mean, the special effects guys depict him as a sympathetic character in some ways. I mean, there's still that big game hunter, put him on display and have a big show,
Mhm.
But they did depict him in a way that he was triggered by these photographers that were exploiting him. They're all snapping pictures, and
Mhm.
everybody in the audience is depicted as like these sort of, upscale people with their opera glasses looking at the monster. And then when he gets killed on the Empire State Building, there's a scene where he goes, he
Ugh.
is hurt, and he falls in this way that's almost like, oh, it's so sad, So
It's
even
awful.
back then,
Yes, it was bad.
there was an attempt made to have you feel like, oh, we did something terrible when we brought King Kong out of the jungle.
So what's the verdict on
I'll
this
see it.
trailer? The trailer looked really fun. I love seeing Hong Kong. I love seeing Alexander Skarsgård, but I'm not going to see this movie.
I was not going to see it, but the fact that Adam Wingard directed it makes me interested because it's going to be well directed and he's got a big budget. So I think and I like the cast. So I will not be. I'll see it, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to run out to the theater like everybody else is. Nobody's running
theater.
Yeah, there's
I
nobody
love
running.
movies like this. I love big sci-fi.
I do
spectacles.
too. I just don't want to see gorillas.
It's coming. It's going to be HBO Max. I think it's coming.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those
releases.
releases
Right.
end of March, I
Cool.
believe. So.
All right.
All right. Well, that's
Okay,
it.
guys.
Godzilla versus King Kong.
Yeah.
Kong. Sorry.
Yeah, Kong. Just Kong, man. It's not a king anymore.
What's the name of this show now? Is this Cinemondo? It's not Cinemondo Trailer Park or Trailer Trash. It's not Cinemondo.
Coming soon.
Cinemondo coming soon.
We can put this one in the trailer.
I have no idea what the hell I'm doing.
None of us do. We're winging it. Woo!
What is this? What is this podcast called again?
And this is way too long for shortcuts anyway.
I know. Cinemondo trashing.
Sorry, you guys. We had a lot to say.
Cinemondo trashing trailers.
Is this an animated cartoon or is that really us?
It's all my fault because I have a Kong thing.
No, that brings out your personality. I love it.
Oh, God.
God. It's like I am. You know how I feel then when I say I don't want to watch horror movies where I don't like horror movies where women are victimized. I hate that.
Yeah,
I don't want to
it's not
see it.
good.
I don't want to see a woman screaming and bloody and being chased by somebody trying to kill her. It's like, nah.
It's like
Are we still doing this? Is this still shortcuts? Are we
No,
done?
this is the trailer. This is coming soon.
Coming soon. Are we done?
We're
we
done. We're
done?
done. Yeah.
Can
We're
I
done,
go
you guys.
now?
We are out of here.
I got things
We
to
just-
do.
Okay.
We're
Bye.
running along. We're running along.
We'll try and be shorter next time.
Subscribe and all that shit.
Comment and tell us if we went too long. And also tell me if you love gorillas.
Comment.
Okay.
Bye.
Click subscribe. Bye, everybody.
The Earth is invaded by indestructible moon monsters.